Right. Thanks, Rosalind, and also thanks, Dr. Jim, for leading all this every month. We are now your second guest this time around. Next year, you might buy us sweets first for us to be here. But thanks. It's been a good learning process, and it's also a good discussion process that generates knowledge amongst the discussants, staff, and all that. So based on this, Mubarak and I will be discussing this book authored by Max Tegmark. Max Tegmark is a physicist based in the US, and is also one of the artificial intelligence optimists who is currently practicing artificial intelligence and superintelligence era vision. And also he boasts that he's worked closely with Elon Musk and has also advised him closely in areas to do with artificial intelligence. So based on this book, it gives a scenario of the future of artificial intelligence and the role that artificial intelligence will be able to play in the human conscience, and how humans should be able to manipulate artificial intelligence behavior, and so on and so forth. So based on this book discussion and generating it in the current scenarios of how artificial intelligence is growing currently and its interest in the current world, then the book is based on a futuristic perspective where it gives a vision on how artificial intelligence will be able to control humans. And at the same point, it also gives a kind of a skepticist approach by saying that whatever things that we are thinking about that artificial intelligence can do will not be able to happen even in the 10,000 years to come. So the book is an evolutionary aspect of artificial intelligence by discussing life 1.0, life 2.0, and life 3.0, where he currently gives an approach of how AI and human are able to coexist, interact, and be able to develop in future. So I'll give a brief description in terms of how he foresees the artificial intelligence and how he gives the evolution of artificial intelligence from life 1.0 to life 3.0. So based on life 1.0, Max Tegmark describes the evolution of AI having started in the 1950s. Now, artificial intelligence is not a generative kind of intelligence that has arisen now. It arisen in the early 50s and was projected by a gentleman called Alan Turing and John McCarthy. Now, Alan Turing and John McCarthy were the first fathers of AI in the development phase by creating artificial or mathematical concepts or mathematical theoretical concepts that could speak to the processes of how things or patterns could be able to form and through a human-based intelligence. Now, based on this description of human mathematical theoretical concepts that derived the artificial intelligence, then came the Life 2.0 that was based between around 80s, and this derivation of artificial intelligence was based on biological concepts. Now, these concepts are based on how humans think and are based on the neuron in terms of the formation of the brains. And the formation of the brains is that machines were trying to mimic and trying to behave in terms of, in a way that human can also behave. Now, in this 2.0 era process, it did not see light as had been expected. And before he delved into the Life 2.0, Max Tegmark gave reasons for the artificial intelligence freeze in the 1950s. And in 1950s, just like now, there was a craze about artificial intelligence that it could transform how human and machines behave. But eventually, there was this kind of lag, and people got tired of artificial intelligence, and it could not go beyond what people had thought. Number one reason why it could not go beyond the reasons beyond that particular point was low computing resources. Now, low computing resources meant that during this particular period, the transistors or the computing machines that were existing then could not be able to handle expert-based mathematical theories that were there then. It could not be able to calculate appropriately the computing power. The machines were too big to process the information that they were being fed. And also the funding phase during this particular time also froze. And people were there were very many skeptics saying that it could not be done. So until some point in the 1950s, artificial intelligence got frozen and there were no new funders and there were no new projection. And this is what led now to another evolution that came in the 80s that now brought the biological inspired machines. So the biological inspired machines is what gained a lot of interest. And at this particular point, the funders got interested and funded the artificial intelligence programs. And this is where the first programming of artificial intelligence came up, that is called the LISP program, that inspired the human and biological behaviors of humans to machines. So the translation of human behavior to machines was realized between the 80s and 90s. And this is what drove the interest of the current artificial intelligence that we have. Now, the reason that the 80s, 90s artificial intelligence evolution led to the current evolution that we have is that more interested funders came in. The computing powers of the kind of machines that were generating or powering artificial intelligence programs were also very effective and were powerful enough. So based on these, in the 90s up to the 2010s, in the 2000s up to the 2010s, there were more powerful, more generative artificial intelligence languages like algorithms that could be able to process machines, could be able to process languages, could be able to process tasks that human beings were able to do and translated into the machines. So based on all these particular concepts, then the evolution of the 3.0 started in the 2000. And if you look at Max Tegmark's evolution processes, he indicated that this particular process was now captured by the big tech companies like the Microsoft, OpenAI, Google, and other companies came in with the big tech syndrome to take up the artificial intelligence era. And this is where the most interest grew, and now the big tech companies were fighting or trying to control the capitalistic aspects of the AI system so that they could show who is more powerful in what sense and so forth and so on. So based on that kind of evolution, and being that the machines were now powerful, there were powerful algorithms like the neural networks, powerful like the neural networks, the deep learning networks, and all that. This particular evolution led to what we are now calling currently as the large language models. And this was driven by the big tech companies in the in the 2010s up to around 2020. Now, the generation of the large language models is what has led us to what we have currently in terms of having models like the ChatGPT, the OpenAI AI systems, the BART by the Microsoft, and all that. So based on the current artificial intelligence that we have is what is now the face of which is being called the artificial general intelligence, that is using the large language models. And if you look at the current system, there's a buzz about AI. And what this evolution, the current evolution has brought in the bias, has brought in the risks, and has brought in the buzz that we are seeing right now. So the current evolution that we are in is now the top total most peak of AI. And if you look at the Max Tegmark evolution criteria, he says that after this particular peak, and this is also being repeated by Google CEO Pichai and other investors in the boards of artificial intelligence development, saying that after this particular peak, artificial intelligence is coming to its freeze. And in the near future, it will be the opposite of what people think in terms of what artificial intelligence will be able to do, because it is reaching the saturation point. And if you look at the investors and even the board meetings, the question is, what else can artificial intelligence do? Because the research or the generation of artificial intelligence to mimic the real human being and behave like a real human being is reaching that kind of peak. And therefore, there is need for another phase of research or evolution that will be able to unlock that. Then people can be able to talk about the future of artificial intelligence. So if you read the book, you'll be able to see that the projection is that in the 2050s or in the between 2040s to 2050s, there is going to be a freeze of artificial intelligence, and either it's going to become a fake or a saturation point where artificial intelligence will now not be a driver of what we really have and will just be a normal computing program like any other computing programs that we already have, or will just be like any other language that we can be able to speak globally. And based on that, in the chapter 2 that I will be able to discuss shortly, is that we are going to what is called the next phase of what is called the super intelligence. So the super artificial intelligence, as described in the book and the description of Mark Tegmark, is that the super intelligence brings in 3 caliber of people in the spheres of artificial intelligence. There is the artificial intelligence utopians. Now, the utopians are those who think that there will never be an existence of something called artificial super intelligence in even the next 100 or so years. And their claim is that the saturation point of artificial intelligence cannot go beyond what human beings, or cannot go next to what human beings have. And the description of the artificial intelligence utopians is that the generation of robots that was started to be created in the early 50s that have mechanical arms, have red eyes, have never been able to replace the human beings in doing or having emotional context or having consciousness in understanding or in solving any particular tasks. And they believe that artificial intelligence, or rather the robots, are just mechanical tools that can be built by any other person. But what can differentiate a robot by a human being is the intelligence that they have. That the robots can only claim to be intelligent if they are fed with their conscious, programmatic level tasks that can be that they can be able to do, including having conscious mind like human beings, and that has not been achieved. So he sees that there is no any other formula that will be able to be used to create robots or to create artificial intelligence tools that can be achieved to the level that we have not been able to achieve at this particular point. Then we have the new mindset of artificial intelligence as another era. Now, this new artificial intelligence mindset believe that artificial intelligence will be able to achieve super intelligence, but with caution that there will be risks and there will be implications of developing or undertaking such kind of artificial intelligence race. So this caliber of people believe that currently we are in the peak of that era or that evolution. And particularly we have achieved that in terms of having artificial intelligence race to the extent that we are now facing risks. We are now facing bias. We are now facing discrimination by the algorithms that artificial intelligence generate or have, such that we are not able to have control of who have or who owns the artificial intelligence algorithms. So, for example, they say that the risks that we are currently facing are based on even prejudice or human discrimination or color discrimination or women discrimination or the job discrimination. So these are the people that view that artificial intelligence, yes, will be able to achieve super intelligence. But in the run, we will be able to face these particular risks and we'll be able to see challenges based on artificial intelligence. And then lastly, there is also another group, the totalitarian groups, that view artificial intelligence as just a mere buzz that will come and go. And they say that artificial intelligence will not be able to achieve the super intelligence, but there will be some extent to which they can be able to have intelligence, but not the super intelligence. So they say this and also concur with the utopians that artificial intelligence really needs subconsciousness, really needs to have feelings for it to be called a super intelligence, and that is not going to be achieved. So based on that, the other topic that Max Tegmark discusses after the realization of the superintelligence and consciousness is the topic that purely discusses the consciousness of artificial intelligence. And the consciousness of artificial intelligence is discussed on the basis of what will artificial intelligence be able to do in future. How will we be able to control artificial intelligence if they surpasses the human intelligence that we currently have? And what level of risks or bias will we be able to achieve with artificial intelligence? So he asks questions and says that, in our own view, are we ready to be led by machines? And they ask, are we ready to feed the machines the ability to learn and relearn and direct human beings? So based on the consciousness that the Max Tegmark is trying to feed to machines and pegs this on the human ability to enable machines to learn and relearn and do repetitive tasks by directing human beings, then he raises kind of key ethical questions and asks that, are human beings ready to feed robots, to be able to feed machines, to be able to learn, to control them? And at what extent will human beings be able to control machines after they acquire that kind of status? So Max Tegmark give scenarios and gives what are called the ethical guidelines, ethical frameworks, and risks framework that can be used by individuals, can be used by organizations, can be used by those who are programming artificial intelligence machines to critically look at the bias that they are creating and also look at the algorithms that they are creating for machines to be able to control or to be able to learn their own environment without causing this kind of risk scenarios that artificial intelligence can be able to bring on board. Now, the consciousness of machines, as discussed by Max Tegmark, is that currently, if you look at the scaremongering by artificial intelligence optimists, is that machines are overtaking human beings. But what are the indicators that the machines are taking human beings? And to what extent or to what percentage has the machines been aided by the artificial intelligence to take the role of human beings? Now, he says that there is a narrow view in terms of how artificial intelligence can be able to take the role of human beings. And number one scenario is the role of repetitive tasks in an industrial robot-based tasks. And number two, he also gives a scenario where artificial intelligence has come close to reasoning or modeling tasks that human beings can be able to task in a series of seconds. And what he describes as the closeness to artificial intelligence taking the role of human beings is the current large language modeling aspects, where machine can be able to use large data sets of text descriptions, like in ChatGPT, to answer your questions based on a structured model of text. And this is based on using large data sets to give you a reasonable task, give you a reasonable scenario, and give you a definite answer based on learning and relearning of large languages to give you a particular answer. So that is what they are discussing, and Max Tegmark, having claimed that they had discussions with Elon Musk in terms of how this can be used to the extent of even aiding self-driven vehicles in crowded places or in towns. Then they use this particular scenario to actually start on conceptualizing the Elon Musk autonomous driven vehicles. And using this basis, it is based on the training that the human beings must be able to train these self-driven vehicles. And these vehicles cannot be able to learn on their environment alone. And based on that, then it means that the optimists, the artificial intelligence optimists that think that artificial intelligence will come close to being reasoning or behaving like humans are overthinking. And that is scaremongering in essence. So based on that, the book clearly gives a scenario and says that artificial intelligence scaremongering, artificial intelligence consciousness should not preoccupy the human beings or should not be preoccupy the human minds in the aspect that they will be able to replace and behave close to a human beings in the near future. And clearly, if you look at that discussion and if you look at their projection, then it is upon the reader of the book, and it's also upon the reader of the AI pessimists and the AI optimists to read largely not Max Tegmark book, but read on the evolution of AI and AI, how AI is revolving and its evolution from the point from its historical time to currently and judge by themselves to see if at all the evolution of AI's consciousness will take place in the near future, or it's already taken place, or it's something that will not be there in totality. Now, also looking at one of the chapter that Max Tegmark also discusses is the revolution of based on the AI bias and the ethical considerations as another topic that Max Tegmark speaks to in terms of how AI will be able to evolve. And looking at the Max Tegmark approach to AI bias and the existential risks, he analyzes the current scenarios of the biases that we are able to experience based on the current AI models that have already been created. And in one way or another, knowingly or unknowingly, the AI bias is occurring to each and every one of us in any particular AI systems that you are using. You may not have realized, but it is something that happens. Now, looking at the AI bias, AI algorithms, the AI controllability, and the AI usage, depending on who models the algorithms or depending on who models the kind of the codes, then you can be able to experience the AI bias or AI ethical issues in one way or another. So Max Tegmark promises that the big tech companies that have taken control of the algorithm codes that drives the AI should be able to open the algorithms, should be able to open the codes to each and every individual for auditability, so that these codes can be audited and be gotten rid of any bias that exists. For example, it gives a scenario of how Microsoft company and its rival Microsoft and its rival Google have overtaken the globalization and the datafication of data in Africa or the global South countries by even translating the languages that they don't themselves understand. And it is them that are controlling the particular codes that are used as the translating APIs or objects for the African languages. So Max Tegmark gives a scenario by indicating that the evolution or the big tech companies colonizing the data, colonizing the artificial intelligence algorithms and codes will be able to exclude those who do not own these particular codes. So it's the data that is being driven by the emerging economies or emerging countries have already been overtaken or have been taken by the big tech companies who control this particular data, who control these algorithms. So it raises a question and says, what is the space for these developing countries in terms of how they will be able to control the discrimination that comes in with the codes that have already been created by the global north. So this particularly raises a question, and it gives a scenario that if countries like the global south that generate this particular data to drive Google's large language models or the Microsoft large language models and datasets, then it means that the African countries or the global south countries will be able to lose, because none of these big tech companies exists or as localized their algorithms models. They use the replicated global algorithm models to model the language that we speak, to translate the language that we speak, and they are the owners, and they are not willing to particularly invest or divest to give the Africans or the Global South organizations some of these algorithms model to control how they will be able to use the AI. So critically, there is large discussion in the book about how the algorithm bias or how artificial intelligence bias will be able to affect those particular countries, those particular organizations, or those particular regions, including race and gender of those people that they view or they don't view as important to their models. So in this, there is a very topical discussions about the generative AI job placement and how AI algorithms are being categorically used by even Amazon, biggest big tech companies, Microsoft, the NVIDIA, to sieve or to generate or to do on-job placement. And the auditability of the algorithms in these companies raised questions, and this was reported to the global ethics of AI, that you could be able to not to be shortlisted for a particular role or job because of your race or because of this particular school that you have gone to. And Max Tegmark repeatedly claims that there are some particular Ivy League universities that are preferred by particular companies, that such that if your CV does not appear with those Ivy League universities when you apply and the shortlisting or the job placement is done through AI job placement, then you will not be able to particularly get recognized, or you will not be able to be shortlisted for that particular role. In those particular roles, there is also the algorithm bias based on the color in terms of how particular jobs are created for whites or are created for people coming from a particular region. So the majority of these particular jobs or roles are able to miss these particular jobs based on the algorithms or based on the bias, artificial intelligence bias in terms of the current usage of artificial intelligence. Same to the health issues, and he gave a case study of health issues in some of the UK and US-based companies that are using AI onboarding treatment placement, such that you find that some particular diseases or some particular people with some conditions are not likely to get admitted when they are onboarding or making a consultation entry with the physicians in those particular hospitals. So using those case studies, Max Tegmark gives a scenario of how the future of AI will, if not audited, particularly in terms of how they uses the algorithms, then we'll be able to face discrimination based on reasons that the big tech companies outlay. So based on that, I'll give now Mubarak the opportunity to discuss the issues of the and future of AI in cybersecurity control and AI governance. Just briefly.
Thank you, Mr. Japheth, for that elaborate talk about the book, and you have touched mostly all the necessary or the major parts of the book. And what I would touch on is basically the security concerns. And the security concerns in the book revolves around the challenges of controlling increasing intelligent AI systems, and the risks posed by these systems as an autonomous system is that, as many other systems that you've known, talk about the Internet of Things, maybe other new evolving technologies, AI system also poses some cyber security risks, and the potential for super intelligence, as mentioned by Japheth, to become an existential threat to humans and as well to the society. Now, the author calls for global cooperation and governance, highlighting the urgency of addressing these risks before it escalates. Japheth talked about superintelligence, and we know that based on the evolution, it's known that, or based on some groups, they have predicted that AI will not surpass the human intelligence, but just know that as compared to other autonomous systems, AI is evolving. So today, it might be at a lower level, or maybe the intelligence level will be low, but you never know what happens tomorrow. Something that is super intelligent can come up, but of course that poses for us a risk to the humans, that should this intelligent or super intelligent AI surpass the intelligence of humans, then it becomes a risk because it becomes hard to control the systems. As of now, the AIs are being controlled by humans. But should it become a super intelligent system, meaning as the humans could not even understand what the AI systems are going to do. So by that, the author emphasizes that once the AI reaches a certain threshold of intelligence, it could become self-improving. Yeah. The same way we started when OpenAI launched ChatGPT, it was limited. And what they thought of is maybe to integrate the whole of internet. Yeah, when you command something on OpenAI, what it does is it checks through every resource that is on the internet now. But previously it had limited, we call it a discrete kind of resource that they pick whatever you need from. But now, currently, as of now, it is super intelligent in a sense that it checks for every kind of resource on the internet to be able to give you or to streamline a response or output based on what you've asked. Yeah. So at some point in moment, you'll find that AI is going to surprise us by giving us something that we could not even comprehend. Assuming you ask AI, I'm sure the moment you go to AI to ask for something, you'd be having a clue of what you're going to get, yeah? But at some point in time, you'll find that the AI will be able to respond to you, and the response will be like, you grin about it, how it came about, yeah? So that's the extent to which super intelligence is reached in AI systems. And this can cause what we call an intentional harm, where it deliberately, or maybe you get a malicious kind of response, yeah? And this super intelligent AI could harm humanity by simply optimizing the wrong objectives. Just as I said before, that if you ask AI for something and you get something way more than what you expected, assuming you ask AI about maybe a methodology or something, and you get some of the methodologies that you never heard of before, yeah, it raises the question whether this is correct or not, right? So this will deliberately, give you a thought of that maybe AI systems are not right, but you never know it's correct, yeah? So that's what will bring about having a super intelligent AI systems. And the author also raises the concern of AI developing goals that conflicts with human survival, either by accident or due to programming. Japheth talked about the algorithms. You don't know who is programming those algorithms. So should it be in those days of racism where you find a white man doing the algorithms? Definitely, if it's the racist type of person doing this programming or trying to come up with a framework for this algorithm, it is definitely going to be the racist or the bias kind of responses that will come out to a specific group of people, which will amount to of course the biasness or what we call the discriminations to a specific group of people. There is also a malicious use that you find if we get a super intelligent AI systems, it becomes very easy for the so-called hackers or people who want to circumvent systems or controls in the system. So we know that the AI systems are super intelligent, and what we could do is maybe get some tips, or maybe you get some more knowledge on how to do the malicious acts using the AI systems. Yeah, this is also possibly what a super intelligent AI system can do, and some of these tools that have been integrated with super intelligent AI systems can be used by rogue states. You've heard of the media where Japan or maybe the North Korea are trying to target a specific country, or US or whatever. So these are rogue states that can use these super intelligent systems or AI systems to be able to levy their warfares on other countries. There are also terrorist organizations and even power-hungry individuals who can use AI. You've recently seen the US elections. Trust me, AI has been used to be able to disseminate wrong information about a candidate. Yeah, if you go to YouTube and your address is from the United States, the first thing they will bomb you with is an advert about Trump doing the unnecessary things, or maybe Trump coming in to come and do the contrary instead. Yeah, so this is how the super intelligent systems like the AI can be used for malicious use. Now, another key concern around artificial intelligence in the current situation is the regulation and governance aspect. Now, the author advocates for international cooperation on AI development, and I think that's what we're going to do in our next programming for maybe 2025 to 2026, which will be, our main aim is to come up with policies or governance to our member states and advising them on some, the AI aspects. Yeah, and the concern is raised because you find there is what we call the AI arm race. Every country now wants to show that they are the pioneers of adopting AI systems, and rushing to adopt any AI systems without understanding the complexities or the challenges and the risk, it will definitely result into the risks we talked about before. And the author warns of the possibility of AI arm race, where nations will rush to develop these powerful tools and neglecting, the challenges that they might face, or what challenges it will, bring to the human race or the society. The author suggests that this could lead to unstable dynamics, where one mistake or system failure could be catastrophic, or would bring catastrophic consequences to the human or to the societies. There is also a concern of global corporations, and to prevent this, we had so far two governance or policies that is being implemented widely or worldwide. One of it is one developed by the US through a corporation called NIST, and then we also have the EU. EU has also launched an AI Act that will govern all organizations who want to adopt these AI systems, or organizations or companies who would want to develop these AI systems. So there is a call by the author that there is need for these global corporations, and there is need to have guidelines, yeah, that will guide developers of these AI systems, and as well those who would wish to adopt should be able to consider some few considerations before going forward with adoption of these AI systems. Japheth talked about the ethical use of AI, and that is one of the the concerns when it comes to regulations and governance. And part of the governance also involves ensuring that AI is used ethically. Now, you find that, as I said before, there is a malicious use of AI where someone would want to know how to hack a system, and this person would come with the help of these super intelligent AI systems. He would come and ask questions to find out ways of how to hack a system, and that is unethical to be able to give these answers to such a person. Yeah, so there is usually regulations as part of the global regulations. It is urged that the developers of these AI systems need to filter out what kind of inputs come from the AI users, and as well what kind of outputs that goes out, that with consideration that it shouldn't be something malicious. And the author also touches on how AI should be developed in ways to promote fairness, protect our data, and as well avoid social inequalities, which is the biasness. Yeah. So that is some of the the concerns. But again, what I would add is the AI safety and controls. Now, one of the concerns the author raised is ensuring that AI system, particularly the super intelligent ones, are designed to remain aligned with the human intentions. Yeah, Japheth talked about having systems that surpasses our own intelligence. At the current level, we have AI. These AIs are developed or programmed by humans. When at some point, if it learns, if it is trained, and it has gone beyond the intelligence of a human, then it becomes very difficult to control, and that becomes a concern to us, that there would be a risk which could result into misinterpretation of why we are developing these AI systems. Yeah, and some of these includes the value alignment, where you find the AI at some point, as the Ethiopia group suggested, that the AI system cannot surpass a human intelligence, and that is true, because an AI system cannot have that emotions, yeah, or that conscience when giving you out the responses or the output. And what this drives us to is that AI systems should be developed with alignment of human intelligence. Yeah, it shouldn't surpass our intelligence. Otherwise, that is going to be a concern to us. And the aspect of goal misinterpretation is where models or AI are being developed to intentionally harm or misinform, yeah, the masses or the users. That becomes a concern. An example can be a paperclip maximizer. If you ask the AI about paperclip, what AI does is it takes the later command. Yeah. So what it does is what it understands is paperclip. So in the response, it can give you, or it can turn what we call this, paper clips into paper clips materials, something like that. So what is going to happen is something different is going to be given to you. That's why I said before that you might ask the AI for something and you find a response that you yourself feels like it's not correct. Yeah. So meaning it has gone way beyond your thinking capacity or your human intelligence to give you something that might destroy your intelligence or might, implant, deceit in you that these AI systems are not working well. And the author as well advocates for what you call a kill switch. A kill switch is an implementation where an AI system needs to be stopped. Assuming you're giving out commands to the AI and the AI is giving you something different or giving you answers that doesn't relate to what you know, yeah? Meaning it has gone beyond, it's being poisoned, or maybe it is being manipulated. So the author is suggesting that it's crucial for us to be able to develop these systems or these AI systems that we can stop at the instance of an emergency or where we feel it is giving us misinformation instead. Yeah. So that is again one key concern that is as part of the AI systems that we have. Now with cybersecurity, in relation to AI systems now, we know that AI systems can help us a lot. We know that with us in the IT departments know that you can be able to use these AI systems or integrate these AI systems to be able to do something that a human cannot be able to do. Yeah, we have what we call logs. There are a lot of them that they are mixed up characters that you cannot even understand. So what we can do is we use these AI systems to be able to scan through these codes and be able to give us some, analytics of what exactly happened or what has been predicted or something like that. So these systems, these AI systems, when integrated in these cybersecurity tools that will help us mitigate, some of the risks or mitigate some cyber security risks to our organization, they also pose some kind of risks to us. Yeah. These same AI systems will be used by these threat actors to be able to launch what you call an enhanced cyber attacks onto our systems. Yeah. So it is for better or for worse, or for better and worse. So meaning we can use it for good, and as well as someone who has the malicious intent can use this same system to be able to levy an attack on us. Now we talked about AI being evolving. Yeah, these are autonomous systems. Just like when we think about the automobiles or the vehicles that came up and they are driving themselves, we know that at one moment these vehicles were crashing each other, or maybe they were causing accidents and all that. We also know of drones that came up, and at one moment we came to realize that these drones were, especially when it's in a case of a military, where you send a drone to go and hit a specific target, and it turns the other way to go and hit another target. Yeah. So these are autonomous systems and they have vulnerabilities. The same with AI systems, they have vulnerabilities, and these vulnerabilities can be used against us, the humans who develop these AI systems or these automobile vehicles that we develop. Yeah. So the potential impact could be devastating and ranging from transportation systems shutdown to power grid failures. We've heard of attacks. One of them is the most talked about was in Iran, done by US. They launched an attack on Iran using a virus attack that is called Stuxnet, and this caused a lot of industrial failure in Iran. So these systems, as they evolve, they also, pose, risks, or they have vulnerabilities that comes up. So everything that comes new, trust me, someone is busy looking at how to break into that system. So these vulnerabilities can in turn be able to, be devastating to us as the human or the use of these systems such as the AI. So I think that is basically what I can talk about, the concerns that AI will raise. But the question to us, again, as a takeaway is we should ask ourselves, how can we ensure that AI remains or aligns with our human intelligence or our human goals? This is a question to someone who is developing, not to us the users, but it's something that needs to be answered before any organization or companies go ahead to develop this kind of AI systems for us to use. Another question that we might need to ask ourselves is, what roles does the international organization, that is now us, play in mitigating these AI-related cybersecurity risks? Now, the last question could be is to us or to the cybersecurity professionals, how can cybersecurity strategies be integrated with the evolving AI-driven modules that are coming up? So these are some of the questions that the experts in these various sectors need to understand and be able to come up with answers for before they can be able to go ahead and develop these AI systems. So my last question or discussion to Japheth is something I believe every one of you would want to know, is that we know AI has a significant potential for us in the organization as well to streamline operations and make decisions for us. Much as we talked about decisions made by AI could not be the same as decisions made by us, but at some moment, there are decisions that we could rely on done by the what? By the AI systems. So these systems or the AI systems can be of importance to us as well. And what I would ask Japheth to briefly discuss is how the AI system can leverage this optimization for us in the organization.
Right. Thanks, Mubarak, for elaborating on various issues around AI security and governance. Now, based on the reference from the book, we realize that there are a lot of tasks and decision-making based rules that AI could help the organization in. And currently, if I'm very right, is that AI has already been implemented in the organization. One of the tools, the GRACES, is already using AI-based translation modules for the resources that have been uploaded in the system. And in the future, based on the growth of the organization, we could also use AI to manage our tasks, deliverables, and to organize for us activities based at the departmental level, if that can be viable. And AI can also be used by the HR team to do recruitment, not biased recruitment, but recruitment that can pass the test. There are already models, there are already algorithms that have passed the test that can help them do or sieve the enormous applications that they get to do the short listings or do the long listing that they do have. And also looking at the wider picture is the use of AI overall for the organization. And as an international organization and a global organization, then I think it is ripe and it is also good for OSC to be in the table of the global organizations that create artificial-driven artificial intelligence policy and governance framework for member states that can provide, can guide, and can give reasons in terms of how AI can be governed in the various member state countries. So OSC should particularly be on the table and also take a key role in terms of participating in the global AI governance framework that accounts for the transparency, accounts for accountability, and accounts for addressing the risks. Actually, the continental AI strategies, like the one Africa Union is pushing, there's also one that the EU intercontinental strategy. There's also the US AI governance framework that OSC can also implement and put AI blueprint policy for the global south. And I think that one will be a kind of progressive compliance framework for the future of the member states. So implementing these could help the organizations drive policy frameworks within their member state countries individually and help them mitigate risks, bias that artificial intelligence could be able to bring. So that is the global role that we have, and also the internal roles that I've spoken about in terms of decision making and improving task-based roles within our desks. And based on that, I think that marks the end in terms of how we view the Max Tegmark's book in terms of how we can be able to localize the usage of artificial intelligence and how he discusses it globally in terms of giving the evolution. Thank you very much.
I don't know whether I would accept the notion that we have reached the optimum in terms of AI development. I think, in my opinion, and I'm a layman, in my opinion, I believe that we are probably at the beginning. 50 years from now, the AI that we have now will probably look like child's play because of the development, the creative thinking, and perhaps at some point, AI itself might start making proposals on how it can develop further. We don't know. So I had a question about whether there's a common agreement on Max Tegmark's book, whether the proposals, suggestions, and the ideas he proposed are universally accepted within the AI or digital world, or whether this is just one view among many, with perhaps some of them contradicting what Marx has said. That's the question that you can answer. But before you do that, you mentioned something about what OSC can do in terms of making. I don't know whether you heard the proposal by the SG in the new biennium. The Secretary General is proposing a commission on AI on the global South.
Yes.
So he's going to appoint a commission beginning of 2025 as we start our new biennium, among other suggestions that will come up as part of the 7 stanzas that he listed and presented for the General Assembly. But anyway, just give me your input on that question that I raised. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for emphasizing on the role that OSC will take in terms of global stage on AI Commission. I think emphasizing that is important, and we hope that OSC will also be among the big international organizations taking role and giving directions on the AI blueprint. Now, looking at Max Tegmark's analogy, evolution of AI, and his prediction of the future in terms of artificial intelligence and relation to human society. Now, looking at that evolution, then you realize that his discussion was based on not really theoretical or fiction, but was based on the events that were occurring pre the publishing of the book. And if you look at the events that have happened since the book was published, then you realize that some of the predictions that he had made in the book have been overtaken by events. And that tells you that whatever he indicated are not universally accepted. For example, he had given a prediction of 2050 to around 2040 to 2050 as the era of where the artificial general intelligence, that is now the artificial intelligence that contains the large language models, can be able to do predictives and as some form of intelligence. But if you look right now, the chat GDP, the GDP, and even the BAT, they have already achieved and demystified whatever his prediction was. So some of his predictions are going to be surpassed, but some remain true, and some remain on objective observations in terms of the technological revolution. So his story or his analogy was based on the practical evolution of how AI is evolving. But it seems the evolution is taking place so fast, and what is only happening is that maybe the saturation of what he's saying, the saturation point where we reach the AI wall, what is projected to be the AI wall, the AI thinking, end of thinking capacity might be achieved earlier than he had projected that it will maybe happen in the 2040s or 2050s. So it will evolve up to a certain point, but his projections of the timelines is what might be able to be contradictory.
Okay, I have a question. So the AI intelligence is getting all the information from the internet, right? That's what he said. There are a lot of information on internet, and not all of them are the right information. How do the AI recognize the correct one, and how do we rely on the information that the AI give us, and how do we rely on it, because not all the information on internet is the correct one?
All right. If you had me talk about the subconsciousness of artificial intelligence and how it relates with the environment, is that it depends on data that it has been fed, and it uses this particular data to train. So if you ask any particular question and the AI or the computer kind of sieves this information that ideally is wrong, and it uses that information to train itself, then it means that the answer that it's going to give you is not very correct. So the AI has not been created to ideally just give you the correct information, because it is also based on giving you answers based on what it has derived or what it has trained itself on the existing models. So if the existing models contain wrong data, then it's going to train itself on wrong data, and it will also eventually give you wrong answers. That is why there is a caution in terms of using the AI models, that it will not be, it's not definite that it will give you the accurate or the right answer. So it depends on what the training models of that particular AI is.
Okay. Thank you very much. I want to raise some points about AI based on the book you presented. I tried to see some books who align with this theme, and who I found almost around 10 books who wrote the same theme and concept about AI, about its benefit, about the ethical challenges it might brought in the future. Most of them are speculating that because AI is evolving, eventually AI might become out of control. It's not yet out of control, or there are no signs that currently those AIs like ChatGPT and other AIs are still within the control of their developers. And most of big companies, international companies like Google, SAP and others are integrating AI into their system, because AI brings efficiency, AI brings, cost reduction, and AI brings up-to-date decision making for the company. So far, there are no signs of these threats that we are discussing, but it's good to discuss about it, because everyone is now creating AI systems, embedding AI systems, and AIs are taking this algorithms. You build the algorithm, you teach the AI how to act or how to operate. I saw one AI, which is Alexa, on social media, that someone was asking Alexa about Jesus Christ. Alexa, is Jesus Christ a God or a prophet? Alexa says Jesus Christ is a prophet. See? Her information or her response is based on the algorithm that someone has taught Alexa about the religion or the information provided. So there should be a framework, as you said, lots of framework how AI should operate. And I saw a research that because of AI, in 2030, there will be 800 million jobs will be lost against AI, because the companies will reduce the jobs because of AI, because they will become more efficient using AI, so they don't need those human jobs to be, even in America, 45 million, as the research says, will be lost, job loss in 2030. There will be, the AI will become a threat to human freedom, because governments will use more control on people using AI, so that AI become a threat to freedom. That's one challenge that those guys wrote. I don't know, maybe Max mentioned that. The other one is AI might be used in warfares. There are companies or countries who are building AI integrated weapons, robots that can fight in a war, or maybe drones, as Mubarak mentioned. So all these things might evolve in the future. Sorry, but right now there is no sign, as the research said. So the question should be, how are you going to shape AI for our control, to control it, not to go out of our control? Because there are lots of films about AI. Maybe you have seen Terminator, that an artificial intelligence system becomes self-aware and starts to shoot nuclear missiles to every country, then the humans perish. So it becomes a threat to human existence. But right now there is no such sign about the artificial intelligence. But we humans are building the AI. We need to put the rules. We need to make the framework, so that the AI we are building for our company or for a business should be in control of the humans. When it comes to OSC, I think lots of staff might use AI for their work, but we need to have some kind of policy to use AI in our organization, so that we can bring efficiency and productivity. As you mentioned, maybe it might be in HR, it might be in other departments. So if there is a rule, we can build our own AI, or we can use those already built that will bring change to our organization. In the other way, we can also not allow AI to be used in the organization if it has a negative impact. So for that, we need to have a rule in the organization. That is the point I want to raise for you. I just need to question, raise one question for you. Based on Mark's book, I haven't, noticed that how we can, leverage the artificial intelligence for our day-to-day activity. It's only revolving around, the threats that AI might bring, and to be cautionary in the future, so that AI might not get out of control. So, if you have any concept about that, you might have react on that. Thank you.
All right, thanks very much. I think based on your question on how AI could be leveraged within the organization, we did a training and gave practical scenarios on how we could be able to adopt AI for basic tasks, and I also use it in developing or decision-making aspects. And though it was basic, but we still hope that we'll have opportunity maybe to give practical, and that should also be guided by creating your suggestion of an internal AI policy that guides the level of usage of AI, so that that training can be directed particularly to solving the tasks that AI gives within the organization. I hope you are not watching the Terminator movie and then describing it that AI should be like that, because if you look at how the Terminator movie behaves, it predicts that the robots, and that is what Max Tegmark had indicated, that the robots have not been able to achieve that consciousness that human beings have. But if you look at what the Terminator, then you will realize that the Terminator is integrated with the AI so that it can be able to learn its environment, look around and realize the enemies and kill all the enemies. So we have not reached that extent. If you are basing your AI premonition based on that, then it's wrong still. We are still not yet there. And I don't think it will be there as Max Tegmark describes. Thank you. Maybe unless you want to answer.
Thank you. Thank you, Zelalem, for your comments. And one question that you posed was how we can make, or how shall we ensure that AIs do not surpass our intelligence. I think that's something that you mentioned. And that takes us back to AI governance. And this goes back to your question and your suggestion about, having a policy in the organization to be able to, guide on the usage of AI systems. Of course, these AI systems, as much as we use them, they are owned by corporations that will take whatever data we feed in. Assuming you feed in a document that has confidential information, your private information is out there to a specific company who owns that AI. So for us to be able to, it's us who develops this AI at the moment. As you said, it's evolving. With time, the AI will improve itself to become much more better. But there is, in AI governance, there's what we call, streamlining or knowing the data points that this AI picks. Yeah, this AI will not just pick any data unless you allow it to, point to that data point. So one of the critical things is to, streamline on the kind of data that this AI is going to pick. I can relate this to your question about, AI is picking up, just like you said in the nuclear weapons. When nuclear weapon, activities came up those days, the whole world rushed into, a protocol where, how nuclear weapons are governed. And it's the same thing that must happen with AIs. Otherwise, as you mentioned, to some extent, the AI systems, much as it is us who develops it to touch a gun and trigger to kill somebody, there should be, a governance on how or what we need to use these AIs for. The use cases must be something, beneficial to the human community, as opposed to, developing an AI drone, or maybe integrate an AI systems on military systems that can cause, havoc to the society. Yeah, so I think based on your point about guiding on the AI usage within the organization, it's vital that we need to identify the tools. Yeah, that is one thing. And then we also need to do an assessment or risk assessment based on the kind of tools we are going to adopt. Or if it's adoption, of course, we need to also put in mind the risk of data privacy, where any data that we're going to put in these AI systems, be it on Proton, be it on Microsoft, know that this data is going out to the various providers of these AI systems. So based on that strategy, again, we can think of and say, okay, let's develop our own AI systems. By doing so, we are taking control of our data and everything that we do in these systems. And so it is up to us, based on those strategies, that we can either identify those tools and make sure we have an agreement with the providers of these AI systems that will not later on, be a challenge to us in terms of our data that we, input into these systems. I think that's briefly. And to add on to, again, you talked about how the AI systems can be beneficial to us. I think that's the question I raised to Japheth. And to you as a person in the IT department, you could use these AI systems to be able to, detect anomalies within your systems. They are integrated applications or systems that now that you can use within the network that will be able to detect anomalies or maybe intrusions within the network, or if someone is copying large data from their computers to a flash disk, you could also as well be able to detect that. That relates to data loss protection measures that all can be integrated with the AIs to be able to quickly identify this kind of anomalies, and of course you'll be able to reduce on some risks like data loss and breaches within the organization. I think that's briefly what I can add.